to Edward and everybody else in the chat. Let me know how that sounds. Otherwise, y'all are going to have to put up with me. Now it's good. Edward's saying it's good. Okay, great. What I'll do, because I see I'm kind of peaking just a little bit in the red, just a tiny little bit, I'm going to just decrease it just a tiny bit more. That way I have a little bit of headroom to play around with here. Okay, I got Cousins, Chris, coming in there saying it sounds better. Okay, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to put it at about 45. I'm leaving it right there. You tell me if you can hear me nice and clear. Am I nice and clear? I don't need to touch it anymore. You guys can hear me just fine. I would think if it sounds a little bit too low for some people, then they can just turn it up at their respected end. Yeah, I was playing around in OBS and my mixer, and I was trying to fine-tune some settings because I was noticing the last couple of shows, the audio has been not what you guys just heard, but something has sounded a little bit off. It didn't have that rich, crisp, clear sound to it. So I actually ended up taking some stuff off, filters-wise, in OBS, and readjusting my mixer settings, and I thought I had it all figured out, laid out, but okay, we got it good now. All right, so hey, let's go ahead and start over. It's okay. Like, we didn't even get into the meat and potatoes, right? We just go 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? You are checking out episode number 1060 of the RCWR show for this November 27th, 2023. That's right, episode number 1060. We are still on the eve of our 12th anniversary. Yeah, celebrating 12 years of doing this show for you guys. We'll officially be celebrating it this Wednesday. Meantime, what did you guys think about tonight's WWE RAW? Sound off. Let me know what you guys think. I've got a couple of options for you guys. We've got a poll up on X, formerly Twitter, at the RCWR show. Thumbs up, thumbs down, staying in the middle. But then on youtube.com/the RCWR show, you can click on the communities tab. And I gave you guys a fourth option, just a bonus exclusive option for our YouTube community. I thought I'd play around with it a little bit. Tonight's Raw ending on a very strong note as shots were fired. CM Punk saying, "I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money." I just love that condescending smile that he had on his face as he was saying that, and we get the Raw logo and everything fades to black. I'm sitting there with the wife and I'm going, wow, shots fired. Holy hell, shots are fired. Hey, it is what it is, right? And she said, hey, CM Punk has always been about his money. You know that. I said, yeah, it's true. It's like, but damn, right? I mean, that was just, I loved it. I marked out tonight's Raw. I have to say, I mentioned it at the top before we were having the audio tech issues, but you know, tonight's Raw felt as though if we were to rewind it back to when CM Punk was last in the WWE, and you know that feeling that you had as a WWE fan, there was just so many great things that was going on, not just story arcs, but the caliber of the talent and the way in which they were being used. It was really a great time to be a WWE fan. And then it just seemed like after CM Punk left, and I hear this to this very day, up until CM Punk started doing this thing with AEW, I used to constantly hear from fans, well, man, I got to be honest with you. Once CM Punk left WWE, I stopped caring about wrestling, or I stopped watching WWE. There were so many people that were all in on freaking CM Punk that once he rolled out, that was it. And right down to the point, I can remember when CM Punk did resurface in AEW. Some of those same people that I would converse with, and I know many of you guys know friends, colleagues or whatever, associates that operated the same way. Wait, CM Punk is back? He's wrestling for who? And you say AEW. What's an AEW? Oh, it's this new wrestling promotion that got started up. But yeah, he's over there and everything. You're like, oh, okay, I gotta check that out, see what's going on with that and everything. And it's just amazing what has happened in the world of professional wrestling, not just in the past 48 hours, but when you really take a step back and you marinate on it for a few ticks, it's very fascinating what has happened in the past 18 months, more specifically between WWE and AEW. it seemed as though all the great momentum that AEW was having and WWE was just constantly being ridiculed left and right, right? I mean, you've seen some of the stuff that was being said about WWE on social media and forums and all that. And my, how the roles have now reversed. And now it's a case where a lot of folks are going, what the heck? Even diehard AEW fans are saying, look, I love AEW. I'm continuing to support these guys. I really think these guys are on to something. But man, I'm not feeling what's going on with Tony Khan and his current leadership. He's really got to get his house in order already. Right? We'll talk a lot more about that. I mean, there's loads we're going to be able to get into tonight. Of course, the big bowl. We'll talk about key points from tonight's WWE RAW. We will also go over WWE Hall of Famer Tammy Sytch, also known as Sunny. She was sentenced today to 17 years in prison. I actually watched a couple of hours of the whole court proceedings, everything leading up to the verdict, and I have a lot to say about that, rather than your usual copy and paste people that are just, oh, she was sentenced, and then, they're pretty much just doing the meat and potatoes copy paste. But I actually went through a couple hours watching the stuff in real time, mind you. So I have a lot to say in regards to that. WWE Raw tonight was in Nashville, Tennessee. And for all you wrestling fans out there that know about your wrestling, you know that once upon a time, there was a little company called, well, it's still around, right? And congrats to them for going back to their vintage name and all that. But you all know Nashville, Tennessee, that is where TNA, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, was born. And I bring that up because there was a picture that was floating around tonight ahead of tonight's Raw, where it was Nick Aldis and Dixie Carter posing for a picture. And a lot of people were going, what's going on here? Why is Dixie Carter? And of course, that was like the big chatter, like, what's going on here? And so, allegedly, there's a report floating around that the reason why Dixie Carter was backstage at tonight's WWE Raw is for a upcoming WWE doc. What that doc is going to be covering exactly, who knows? I can't wait to see whatever it is. Honestly, when you've got Dixie Carter that's involved, I know Dixie Carter gets a bad rep a lot of times and everything, but I really, she is one of those people that I personally feel her heart really was in the right place with everything that she was trying to do. And, I can't help but wonder, how would TNA have been had she been able to continue to access money from her parents? If everything wasn't cut off and she was still able to keep on going about it, what exactly would have happened with the promotion? Just kind of one of those what ifs. I don't want to dwell too much into that and everything, but that's why allegedly Dixie Carter was there tonight, was to film some stuff for a WWE doc. All right. We had Randy Orton in action tonight. He looked phenomenal, as if he did not look good when we finally saw him resurface at Survivor Series, right? I mean, great freaking physique. As I said on the Survivor Series post show, which, by the way, shout out to you guys that had represented, checked out the Survivor Series post show. I had a lot of fun doing that. I got to tell you, I really wish you all could have captured. And I think that's maybe something I'll start doing going forward. Like, even if I don't want to be live for some of these premium live events, maybe what I'll do is I'll just have a tripod, because I got a tripod or two already scattered around in the studio here. Maybe I'll start like putting one in the living room or something when these events come on, and I'll just have it be recording, just to catch my reactions. But much like the fans that had saw CM Punk returning and they were screaming to the top of their lungs and everything, that definitely was me. By the way, let's go to the polls one more time, because I said I was going to circle back and see from the Survivor Series post show. I had mentioned that I was going to give you guys a nod one more time. So shout out to everybody that had voted on the poll here. Let's go to YouTube first, look at the community section, see how you guys had rated Survivor Series. Now that many people have found out, oh my God, CM Punk is back. These were your options: thumbs up, thumbs down, staying in the middle, OMG, CM Punk returns. I'm seeing a tie at 7% for thumbs down and staying in the middle. Meanwhile, thumbs up gets 41%, coming in top dog at 45%. OMG, CM Punk returns. Shout out to you guys that cast your votes over on the YouTube. Let's now go over to X and see what you guys had to say over there. The final tally results for that is as follows. 5% staying in the middle, 12% thumbs down. Meanwhile, 38% OMG, CM Punk returns, and top dog, 45% of you saying thumbs up. Shout out to everybody that had cast their votes on those respected polls. So, yeah, Randy Orton, though, hey, looked phenomenal seeing him back, but we got Randy Orton in singles action out of the gate. I love the hero's return that this man had got, and I appreciate the way that this show particularly was structured tonight because, yes, you can make an argument. Now that Survivor Series is in the book, and you kind of have to give a little bit of a nod, a bit more of a nod to Survivor Series as you go into tonight's WWE RAW because, yes, you can make an argument that despite some of the solid action that we had from that premium live event, yes, Randy Orton making his triumphant return, great ovation that he received from the crowd as well. You can definitely make that argument that everything was just drowned out. Everything was just tuned out because CM Punk made his return. And that is even more the reason why I appreciate the way that this show was structured tonight, y'all, because the very last burning image that we have from Survivor Series was CM Punk. But before that, it was, hey, Randy Orton came back. He was able to help Team Cody Rhodes pick up the win over the Judgment Day. So what better way to kick off the show than by having Randy Orton come out? And I got to tell you, Randy Orton, does he not look so carefree? He looks so loose. He looks not only energetic, but he is so full of personality, and we've got this friendly Randy Orton that's running around now. I really love, it's the little things that I appreciate. Not sure about you guys, but I love the fact tonight that when we saw Randy Orton and he's giving all the people high fives as he's coming down the aisle, how he takes time out to high five a little kid and he autographs their action figure. And I immediately had put a tweet out talking about that, saying, look, for as long as I've been watching the career of Randy Orton, I've never seen Randy Orton do this on my television, because if he is doing it, the cameramen are not showing you that. So the fact that they had showed that and just everything combined, you just couldn't help but really take a step back and go, man, I'm really appreciating Randy Orton this go around. I remember for the longest time being here on this very show, one of my biggest complaints about Randy Orton was, man, if only this guy can get a little bit more personality because he's so robotic. And yes, Randy Orton is really great at chasing after somebody and everything, but once he's done chasing them, and if it's for a title or whatever, he gets ice cold really, really quick. And it just seems that one of the best things that happened for him in his respected career, in the later portion of his career, is the fact that he got teamed up with Riddle. It's really unfortunate that Riddle could not clean up his antics, get the respected help that he needs and everything. And I really hope that going forward, this guy's going to be okay. But the fact that he is teasing the fact that maybe he's getting ready to do some stuff with OnlyFans, Brazzers, or whatever the heck is, he's getting ready to embark in, it almost justifies that WWE, you could say almost, or it does justify WWE releasing the man and everything. But Randy Orton, he just looks so freaking just rejuvenated. Those are the best words that I can think of. Rejuvenated, re-energized, the whole 9 yards. One thing he revealed in the brief little bit of time that he had spoke to the WWE Universe is the fact that he is back for a significant long period of time, and knock on wood, he's going to be able to just ride that out. And this led to some speculation that maybe he's inked some type of a new deal. There's some reports floating around that allegedly Randy Orton is going to be with the WWE for the next 10 years. Hey, look, as I've always said on the show, because I know a lot of you guys are Randy Orton fans, and you all have asked the question of me from time to time, how much longer do I see Randy Orton staying in the WWE? If I don't get that question, another question that I get is, hey, Lee, Randy Orton, how many more championships do you see coming his way? And my answer still remains the same, which is, look, so as long as Randy Orton can stay healthy, and all of that, right? He can not only stay healthy, but Randy Orton can also make sure that he doesn't get into any old bad habits, right? Those of you that have his DVD, you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? We don't need to spend a few minutes on that, right? Just, y'all know, majority of y'all know. But for the newer folks out there, it's worth going on Amazon and picking up this holiday season. You'll thank me later. Then, yeah, honestly, I can see 3, potentially 4 more World Heavyweight Championship reigns guaranteed coming to this guy. Guaranteed. I believe that as far as the antics, getting in trouble with the wellness policy, I strongly believe those days are long gone. I believe he's at a much different place mentally, spiritually, just all that. I think the number one thing for him right now is just staying healthy. Seriously. And I don't think that's going to be an issue for him because it's been extremely rare that the man has gotten injured and everything. Rhea Ripley coming out there, getting to the face of Orton. Not so happy that he pretty much had spoiled all their plans, especially in regards to Damian Priest cashing in that Money in the Bank briefcase and everything, pretty much letting it be known that he has made an enemy of the Judgment Day, and he pretty much better watch his back. I love how the crowd, the hell with the fact that Rhea Ripley is a woman. I guess they've been making mental notes and everything saying, now, we know you like to attack men and women, so you know what? We don't mind seeing you get an RKO from the Viper. They were actually chanting for an RKO, and I was popping over that big time. And I love the fact that Randy Orton kind of teased that he was thinking about doing it. And Rhea Ripley, it's the little fine attention to details that I appreciate. I don't know if it was told, don't flinch, but I love how she just stood there and didn't even react to the physical notion that she was potentially going to get an RKO. I love that. I gotta know, was that intentional, or she didn't see it coming, or she was just in character? I would just love to know the specifics about that. We saw him get a beatdown afterwards by J.D. McDonough and who was it there? Dominic Mysterio. Orton on the rebound, then letting it be known he was going to go speak to Adam Pearce, and if he could have it his way, then he was going to have a one-on-one match with Dominic Mysterio. And that was our main event match for tonight before CM Punk came on out there. I thought Dom did pretty good, and I love the fact that Randy Orton gave Dom a little bit of a nod. You guys that have it on your DVR, if you missed it, go back and you'll see what I'm talking about. He kind of did a nice little head gesture nod to Dom, letting him know, yeah, kid, you're all right. You're coming along, just fine and everything. I loved it. I loved it. Dominic Mysterio, he has really shown this calendar year his versatility. Seriously, whatever is being asked of this guy to do, he is going out there and he is freaking doing it. He is doing it. I looked at this match initially, and I wasn't expecting that much. I thought for sure this was going to be a freaking squash match. I know a lot of you guys were probably anticipating that too, that watched the show. For somebody, and then look, for me, especially if you follow my reviews on 401 Mania and everything, I am not a fan of squash matches. I'm just not. I look at it, the only time I'm okay with a squash match is, okay, this is about further extending whatever respected story arc. Like I can remember from Rampage over the weekend, The Kingdom, Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, they beat up 2 random black guys, right? I've never seen them on AEW programming before, TV programming that is, okay? But they just beat up 2 random black guys in about 60 seconds. I looked at that and all I could say was, okay, you know what? This is nothing more than further extending their respected story arc because they're coming after MJF for those ROH tag titles. This is nothing more, nothing less. Okay, let's move it along. I don't mind when we have squash matches like that where we're trying to build up a story arc, or, hey man, this Bronson Reed telling you, you got to watch this guy, right? Okay. But when you're just putting in a random squash match, there's nothing behind it. Nothing. We're just doing it just to be killing time. I freaking hate it. I freaking hate it. So I was going into this main event match thinking this was going to be a straight up squash so that CM Punk could get all the respected talk time that he needs. I did not anticipate that they were going to give CM Punk about 7 minutes of talk time. I thought for sure they were going to give him at least 15 minutes, but that's not what had went down. This match had actually got 10 minutes, give or take. So love the nostalgia that was going on in here with Randy Orton, and every spot had some type of meaning, had an impact to it and everything. Dom selling like a mofo. Loved it. I freaking loved it. This was a good match, good main event match. Really proud of Dom. Dom coming along, really held his own against the veteran, I would say. One of my personal favorite matches of the night from tonight's WWE RAW. Also, some big news had went down while Monday Night Raw was on, AEW related wise. Some of you guys might have not even been aware, but apparently QT Marshall decided to part ways with AEW. I mean, what the hell is going on here? I mean, has this been a crazy quarter for wrestling fans and wrestling news, or has this been a crazy... QT Marshall, for those of you that don't know, wore many different hats in AEW. I mean, he essentially was right there with the Young Bucks, with the Kenny Omega, with Cody Rhodes. He pretty much was right there with the founders, building AEW from the ground up. Wore many hats in the company. And now he's gone. And you just can't help but wonder, with his friendship to Cody Rhodes and with everything that they continue to do with the Nightmare Factory, if maybe Cody Rhodes might have put in a word for him with WWE, and if potentially QT Marshall is going to pop up at the WWE Performance Center as an NXT coach or as a enhancement coach. I'm curious what you guys think about that. Sound off, let me know, because I don't know. I think I'm on to something, and not for nothing, we've done pretty good calling it here on the show, right? Some things may not happen exactly when it's supposed to, when I predict, but for the most part, I'm batting a pretty good average over here, and that's not me blowing my own horn. I'm just spilling the truth for you guys. Nothing but the absolute truth. We'll talk a little bit more about QT Marshall because he had some interesting words to say that we can tie back to CM Punk and everything later on. Some other stuff that went down from tonight's Monday Night Raw. By the way, I love that Randy Orton had talked about how when Cody reached out to him to be a part of War Games, just that whole story that was in there, talking about Dusty Rhodes, how he looked up to him, and giving that nod of the fact that War Games was created by Dusty, and how in his illustrious career, Randy Orton has done so many things, but one thing that he's never done was do a War Games match, and so that was something that he got to check off of his bucket list. But before that main event match with Dom Mysterio, he did also mention the fact that he's back because he's got some unfinished business. There's some receipts that he needs to dish out, and mainly that includes the Bloodline. Speaking of the Bloodline and everything, he did bump into Jey Uso later on in the night. Jey Uso letting him know, hey man, I know you said you got some unfinished business and everything, and I know you had my back at Survivor Series and all that. That's cool, but look, just want you to know everything that went down with the Bloodline, I'm no longer part of that. I've got nothing to do with that. I've been trying to do my best to change, and I just want you to know that. And Randy told him straight up, hey, man, look, I've been watching everything that's been going on these past several months. I see what you've been doing. If Cody Rhodes can vouch for you, hey, man, you're okay in my book. I see that you've continued to help out Cody every single week. You've been going in there. You've been hustling. And you know what? We cool. Nothing to worry about. We all right. Are we, though? Are we, though? I mean, Randy Orton is essentially Stone Cold Steve Austin, DTA, don't trust anybody. I mean, come on, man. Seriously. Come on. Come on. Come on. Here we are, by the way, in 2023. Well, I just talked about the infamous photo that's floating around from that night in question, right? For those of you that missed it, because we were having audio issues, I mentioned the fact that WWE for me right now, it feels like exactly how it was right before CM Punk left. There's a lot of great things that was going on at that point in time, and I mentioned the fact that you have that infamous picture that's floating around with CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Matt Cardona. It's a really cool picture. Cody's in there. I think at that point Cody had the dark hair. Yeah, he was still pushing the jet black hair and everything. And I just couldn't help it while I'm thinking about that. I was also thinking about R-Truth, right? I mean, what? It doesn't get any better than that, does it? Like, as a WWE fan, not only in one night does Randy Orton return, not only does CM Punk return, but my man R-Truth makes his triumphant return. I freaking missed R-Truth. I love R-Truth. Longtime listeners of this show have heard me say time and time again how much of a fan I am of R-Truth and how I wish that they would have pulled the trigger on R-Truth as the WWE champion when he faced John Cena for the belt at the Capital Punishment pay-per-view that happened out here in Washington, D.C. many years back. I mean, everything was right there for the taking. You had the perfect story arc, and that's one of those, I wonder if Bruce Pritchard, shout out to Conrad Thompson, but that's something I would like to know. Like, okay, everything was going in R-Truth's. Why exactly did they not go ahead and pull the trigger? Was Vince just more content with R-Truth being a TV character and just, he didn't see anything more than... I'm very, very curious. Also, nice, juicy little highlight of the night. Tag team turmoil as we had Alpha Academy, New Day, Creed Brothers, DIY, and Indus Sheer, all involved in a tag team turmoil bout where whoever won this, we're going to become the new number one contenders, tag team contenders. Oh, man, I love this. I love this. This was, if you ask me straight up, what was my favorite honestly, what was my favorite highlight of the night for this whole tag team turmoil? The Creed brothers. The Creed brothers. Big Brutus Creed. That boy don't need what Booker T be saying? That boy don't need no water. That boy don't need no bread. What that boy need is meat. You know what I mean? Seriously. I am such a big fan. I mean, I was already coming around on the Creed brothers in NXT, but once they got the call up to Monday Night Raw and just seeing these opportunities they've been hitting out of the park every single week, I've been just waving that flag for these guys more and more. And they, for me, I don't know if you guys are getting the same vibe, but the reason why I'm such a big fan of these guys, shout out to Chris with the freaking quote, man. Seriously. Chris with the, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make muffins. Mindy's Muffins. How much you want to bet in Chicago over the weekend Mindy's phone was just off the freaking hook? I've already told my wife for my birthday coming up, I said, look here, if there's some type of way Mindy's delivers, whatever we got to pay for shipping and everything, I'm all fine for it. But, I want some of these damn Mindy's Muffins. I want to know why CM Punk was just on that infamous night. I mean, he was like, he was, was there some truth serum put in them damn muffins? What was going on with them muffins, man? Seriously. But no, one of the main things I like about the Creed brothers is the fact that They give me a Team Angle vibe. Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas. They give me that type of a vibe every time I see them in action. And I just can't help but go, man. They give me that. They're a nice crossbreed between Benjamin and Haas, and also the Hardcore Holly and Bob Holly. I'm sorry, Hardcore Holly and Crash Holly. They also remind me of those guys. They're a nice crossbreed, I personally feel. They can be very technical and everything, kind of amateurs with that pure wrestling background, but then they can also be hard hitting and just stiff as I don't know what. And I love those guys. So DIY advanced in the first bout as they had took on Alpha Academy. I was a little bit stunned to see that, by the way. Then we had Indus Sher come out. Great seeing Indus Sher back. We know they've been a little bit on the back end these past several months. So hopefully this is definitely the start of seeing a lot more of them. DIY had advanced from Indus Sher. From there, the Creed brothers came out, and they just pretty much tore house after that. They advanced. New Day came out, went past them. Imperium, they were the last team to come out, took them out as well. This was a really great, and I love the fact that for this whole tag team turmoil, I love the fact that this bout had went practically 30 minutes. And it was a great opportunity. Keep in mind, the first hour of Monday Night Raw was commercial free. Commercial free. Worst case scenario, we had like a 30-second WWE built-in spot for their shop.com, all that other stuff. By the way, speaking of their shop.com, I did not plan this. This is just how the show works. We just go with the flow and everything. Did you guys order your new CM Punk t-shirts yet? I know I ordered mine when I was done with the post show for the pay-per-view. I had ordered mine, and in case you guys haven't been on the shop WWE website, this is how the shirts look right now. This is all they've got in stock. For those of you that want to see what I'm talking about, you can either go to the website or you can look up the YouTube video. Go to the 38-minute, 40-second mark. But then again, with editing, because we're going to have to take out like the first 6 minutes, so probably like about the 32-minute mark for you audio listeners. You'll see what I'm talking about. But there's your two shirts. That's all that's up right now as far as CM Punk merchandise. So I want you guys to make sure you home in on this. Note that these designs that you're looking at right now, it's not one design. I don't want you guys thinking that, oh, that's what's on the front and that's what's on the back. No. So you've got that straight edge vibe that's going on the front of the shirt. That's one shirt design itself. And then the second shirt design is the Survivor Series 2023 War Games. That's the second design, and that's pretty much it. That's going to set you back about, damn, how much did I... And those weren't on sale. Those weren't on sale. I believe they want $35 a shirt. Yeah, so after taxes, you're looking at about almost, because I remember at the end, my total was $67, $68, $69. So order while you can. WWE is saying that the shirt should be going out no later than December 5th, if not sooner. So you guys got a little bit of time. But they did say when you were looking at the shirts, hey, you might want to go ahead and put in an order now because stock might run out. So I doubt that, but then again, you never know. So, but yeah, check that out. I got those designs on the way. For those of you that might be a little bit hesitant, you want to know what's going on with the quality first and all that other good stuff. I mean, look, just hold off. I'm going to hook you up, right? Speaking of which, you guys can't see because of the shirt logo, but I am pushing my CM Punk t-shirt for the second night in a row. I just felt like doing it, right? So, yeah, I've got another CM Punk shirt, by the way, that is still in. Is it in its packaging? I'm trying to think. It's not in packaging. It's the shirt that I had picked up when I did the CM Punk meet and greet in Chicago. What was that? 2018. Yeah, 2018. I have not worn that. I have not worn that. My wife will usually ask me once in a blue moon, "Are you ever gonna wear that shirt?" And I go, "No, no. This is to commemorate my return to Chicago. Yeah, 'cause that's where I was born and raised. I hadn't been back in Chicago at that point. I hadn't been back in Chicago in over 25 years. And I still remember just, talking with Punk and everything. And one of the last things he said to me, he said, "Try not to be away so long next time. Like, come home more often." And I told him, I said, "I promise I will." And I've been trying like ever since to like, because there's like different little things that I want to do. I know Mish is out there. Been trying to hang out with him and or do some sightseeing and all that. So I'm definitely trying to go back a lot more. I do have family in Chicago. So I know a lot of them had scattered over the years, and I'm trying to see what's going on with that, what everybody is doing and all that and everything. So yeah, but yeah, try to if you're on the fence right now about the shirts, just wait, I'll definitely be brutally honest with you guys. This one that I got from WWE Shop a long time ago, it's held up pretty good. I mean, the quality, I've washed it a few times, and it still looks as brand new as when I first took it out of the plastic and everything. FYI for you guys, but that could be a little steep for a brand new shirt design. If you want my best advice, if you don't mind waiting, kind of follow up on what Chris is saying in the chat, saying he went to a concert recently where all shirts were $50 minimum. It sucks, but it makes more sense for WWE to charge more too. Yeah, I mean, we're talking not just inflation. I mean, we're feeling it everywhere. Especially when you go to the grocery store. Oh, I'm just going to get some milk, some eggs, some bread, some yogurt, some cereal. Maybe I'll get some lunch meat and some cheese. Next thing you know, you don't almost spent like $200 and you barely have anything to show for it. That's inflation for you, man. That is inflation for you. So for you guys that are a little bit on the fence, you don't want to drop that money just yet. You want to wait on a review, know what's going on with the quality and all that. I'll break it down for you guys. If you're at a point where, no, I am very well aware of WWE's quality in the shirts and the quality's on point, the money's just too tight right now, then I would definitely say to you guys, wait until there is, and it happens like clockwork every single year. Usually by the end of the year, WWE will do some type of a ridiculous sale where they'll have everything on sale. Everything on sale, and you can get like 10, 15, 20% off. Whatever designs you were thinking about picking up in shirts or whatever, that's like the best time to freaking do it. That's when you can definitely act. All right, couple of other little tidbits we can get into on tonight's show. By the way, right team won as far as the Creed brothers winning. Totally down with that. So they win the right to face Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest for those tag titles. I love the way that whole tag team turmoil match was laid out. Great stuff right there. Finn Balor, speaking of him, he went back to the Judgment Day's little clubhouse because he was watching everything that was going on with that tag team turmoil. He's trying to get his boy and Damian Priest to be on the same page, right? Because they got to start preparing for him and all that. And Damian Priest is still a little bit sore over what had happened at Survivor Series. He's so frustrated, feeling as though he's the one responsible for messing everything up and everything. And he just wants them to go ahead and let him have it already. Rhea Ripley reels him back and tells them, look, we're a family. We rise together. We fall together. Like, don't trip, man. It just wasn't our night, but there'll be other opportunities. Priest, pretty much, okay, all right, I feel where you're coming from. From there, Finn Balor says, yo, Damian, seriously, we should maybe go check up on JD because he's not doing so good after what had happened with Randy Orton. And as they departed, you might have missed it. Rhea Ripley had this devious look on her face. It was almost as if, okay, I told him what he needed to hear. Right? You know what I'm saying? It was almost that vibe you were getting of the dagger in the back, that it's coming. The only question is it going to go down in a way which will truly benefit mommy, or is it going to backfire? I can't help but wonder. And some of you guys, you may say, well, wait a minute, that sounds so wrongly. Like, what the hell? Well, when you really stop and think about it, Rhea Ripley has really rise through the ranks as an alpha male, as that dog, has she not? And she's been very outspoken. And meanwhile, we've got Finn Balor, who at one point, he kind of thought he was the leader. But then when he was told, nah, man, everybody's equal here, that's when he kind of doubted back a little bit. But Rhea has never really truly been that all for one. She's always been outspoken, very quick to let her opinion be heard. And we've seen Damian Priest building up more and more confidence, becoming more outspoken. This really is starting to feel like a power struggle here. The only thing is, who is really going to come out on top? And you could almost make an argument that after mommy tried to do what she did, I hate calling her mommy, it just sounds so weird calling her mommy. After Rhea Ripley did what she did, it was a perfectly laid out plan. It was just ruined by Randy Orton. You can't help but wonder if Rhea Ripley at this point is just, you know what, I'm done with this guy. His head is just too far up there in the clouds with his self-interests and all this other stuff, and he's weak as a result. He's making us weak as a result. I can't help but wonder, you feel where I'm going with this? This has the potential to be a big Dave Bautista kicked out of, Randy Orton evolution. It almost has that moment, right? But it also kind of has that Batista Triple H. It almost kind of has that moment too. I'll give it that now, but more so Randy Orton being betrayed by Evolution. It definitely has that moment. If you were to ask me how much longer everything's going to pan out with the Judgment Day, I honestly would be surprised if they make it to WrestleMania at this point. I really would. I really would be surprised if they made it to WrestleMania, but I just kind of get this weird vibe that the honeymoon's going to be over pretty soon. The whole matrimony is going to be over pretty soon. Cody Rhodes coming out speaking to the crowd. A lot to talk about. Gratitude. Thanking everybody that was involved with him in that Survivor Series matchup. Also turning his attention to the return of CM Punk, saying that nobody knew was going to happen. Nobody knows what will happen because of it. But as far as he's concerned, CM Punk, welcome back. So that was a nice little nod right there. I like how we had conspiracy theorists out there. Oh, now that CM Punk is back in WWE, how long before Cody Rhodes tries to roll out? Like, I've never recalled any issues between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. So what is... God, I'd say a whole lot of conspiracy theorists that's happening out there. But the main meat and potatoes of Cody Rhodes being out there was to declare himself for the 2024 Royal Rumble. Yeah, I know. That's like right up there with, hey, 2024, I've decided I'm going to run for president. It's like, okay, how about, hey, not only have I declared myself for the 2024 Royal Rumble, but I've offered up myself to be the number one entrant into the 2024 Royal Rumble. How about that? I think that would have been much more of a shocker and have people go, is Cody crazy? What the hell is he thinking? Or, hey, man, this man must really want this, but at what cost? Like, I think they should have spun that narrative more. That's me personally. Well, Cody couldn't celebrate in his announcement too long because the next thing you know, we got a Shinsuke Nakamura popping up on the Tron, telling Cody Rhodes that he's a brave warrior who apparently needs to finish a story, but he needs to set Shinsuke Nakamura free. Only Cody can help Shinsuke evolve. And he talked about how he's been patient week after week, but no more. He's done waiting. Turns out Nakamura is behind Cody Rhodes, hits him with that trademark Great Muta miss in the face, lays him out. Great stuff right here. I mean, so man, shades of New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? I mean, you're getting goosebumps just thinking about some of the great work that Cody was doing in New Japan for a hot minute there. This is going to be freaking fire. Seriously, this is going to be freaking fire. I'm looking forward to that matchup. That's going to be freaking beautiful. You know, we were wondering who Shinsuke was talking about the entire time, and it's interesting because, and I can't help but wonder if the reports are true about when Triple H, Nick Khan, CM Punk finally did begin talking and everything. You can't help but wonder if initially Shinsuke was talking about Seth Rollins, and essentially Shinsuke was going to slide back in there and finally take the title away from him. Hopefully, you know, our guys over at PW Insider, you know, hopefully they'll get a little bit more information in regards to that. But because I'm curious, I'm very curious what the original plan was. Like, had they not secured CM Punk, was that the original plan? Was it even talked about at all? Very curious right there. Ivar taking on Bronson Reed. Two big, meaty men slapping meat here. Just double count out for all of that. Totally fine with that. Totally fine with that. Nia Jax taking on Zoe Stark. This went on a little bit too long. I was not interested in this matchup at all. You know, I was pretty happy to see Nia Jax when she was back and everything. And look, I like the whole Irresistible Force. She's the, quote, Trina, the rapper, quote, one of my favorite songs from her. I'm the baddest, okay? But, you know, these two just don't gel. They don't match up well. I guess we were doing this to try to figure out who was potentially going to be the next challenger for Rhea Ripley and all that, but I'm just, you know, no, keep these two separate. You know, it just, nothing clicked here as far as I was concerned. Too long of a match, nothing clicked. You know, you either got it or you don't, and it just was not clicking here whatsoever. Seth Rollins coming out next. Look, I can't believe I got to tell you guys this. A lot of people worked themselves up to believe that what happened at Survivor Series. So, see, look, we were on the air during their Survivor Series post-show. But apparently there was some footage that came about that shows Seth Rollins being held back by Corey Graves, Michael Cole. Seth Rollins furious, throwing up the middle fingers, continuously saying F you to CM Punk and everything. CM Punk's at the top of the ramp. We never see CM Punk's reactions to this whole thing. We just keep seeing CM Punk. And there's like different camera angles shot by fans' phones showing what's going on with Rollins and his whole reactions and everything. I'm looking at this, you know, this was like, as soon as I went off the air and I started mixing down the audio, I'm rendering, I'm on social media, I'm seeing what's going on. I see this video footage and I'm seeing how people are working themselves into a freaking shoot over it. And I'm going, no, man, this is how you play up this angle. This is how you play up this rivalry. This is how you do it. And I'm going, wait a minute. Didn't Seth Rollins put out some type of a tweet a couple of years ago where he took some shots at CM Punk and all of that? And man, if I was smart, if I'm WWE, I'm going, okay, no, you know what? I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to incorporate that into this angle that eventually is going to go down where we're going to have CM Punk and Rollins face off in the middle of the ring. And sure enough, leave it to the people on social media, very quick to bring up that image. I'm trying to see if that screenshot is that That screenshot actually might be on my iPad. I'm trying to see. Yeah, I got my iPad in here. But yeah, and sure enough, somebody had dug up that post from Seth Rollins, and I'm going, this is how you circle back. Because there was a period there where Seth Rollins, a couple of times, very vocal about CM Punk. Oh, he was a parasite, good riddance, and all that other crap. So you get CM Punk back. Yeah, of course you're not going to have CM Punk and storyline. Hey, welcome back. How you been, dude? Oh, welcome back. And then, welcome back, Carter. Something. No, you're not going to do that. Hell no. You're going to freaking play up. What was that Seth Rollins had said about CM Punk here? Yeah, let's turn that into an angle. How about that? No. So, but I just chuckled. I chuckled over the fact that so many people were just, oh man, this was a shoot. Because you didn't even need to read that tweet. Like, seriously, WWE is well aware of how many fans come in there with their camera phones, iPad cameras, and all that other stuff. And they're filming, and uploading on social media. And, you help them out by spreading that all around. You all did your freaking part. You played your role. You played your role beautifully. That's what they wanted. So obviously, eventually, we're going to be seeing CM Punk and Seth Rollins collide. I guess because to follow up on what we were talking about on the show, I'm trying to see if I can find it, but yeah, Fight Me CM Punk. I'm going to put my screen up here. And for those of you that happen to follow Seth Rollins at WWE Rollins on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter, Fight Me CM Punk. And I'm going to zoom in on the date there. As you can see, that was on November 13th, 2019. Okay? So, I mean, come on. Come on. You guys are so gullible. You can do better than that. I know RCWR show listeners, listeners of veteran podcasts are a bit savvier, a bit smarter than that, right? You didn't take that bait. You knew exactly what was going on there, and that's cool. But Seth Rollins, hearing the CM Punk chants, telling the fans, go ahead, get it out of your system. Go ahead, do it right now. But you know what? I don't want to spend one more second or ounce of energy on that hypocrite. So instead of talking about someone that honestly doesn't matter, let's talk about the fact that I've been defending this World Heavyweight Championship week in, week out, right? A couple of days removed from War Games. I'm feeling not so good, but you know what? Getting that itch. Want to defend the champion. I'm a fighting champion after all. Then we hear the music of Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre comes out there. I love the other narrative too. Oh, Drew McIntyre, he was so fast to get the hell out of there. Blah this, blah that. Drew McIntyre. It's like, I'm not reading anything more into what happened with Drew other than an angle. His respected angle is still ongoing as well, where Drew, remember the sole purpose of Drew teaming up with Judgment Day. He wanted to stick it to Jey Uso, and that plan backfired. So yeah, from what we've seen of Drew McIntyre off and on these past couple of weeks, he's come off as a guy that's been a bit unhinged, right? Just waiting to frickin' snap. So that's another one of those, okay, you see how the seeds have been planted, how they're trying to lay it down here. Drew McIntyre coming out, still pretty angry over what had went down 48 hours ago. And he congratulated Seth for the victory at War Games. Drew admits that he's got to put Jay on the back burner and focus more on what's important, and that's taking the title away from Seth Rollins. Brings up the fact of, hey, remember what you told me, Seth, right before Crown Jewel? Seth says, yes, I do. Which was, he says that when he beats Drew will have nobody to blame but himself. Quote that Led Zeppelin song, nobody's fault but mine. Seth also told him that it would be the best thing that ever happened to Drew. And was he right? Drew says 100% right. Nobody to blame but himself. So he's taking self accountability here and everything. Ultimately, Seth Rollins saying, look, I'm going to be defending this championship next Monday on Raw. Drew wants to know, okay, who is that person going to be? I'm just curious. And Rollins tells him straight up, well, it's going to be against main event Uso. Drew snaps. I love me some unhinged Drew. Drew snapped, headbutting the hell out of Rollins, just gushing blood was Drew McIntyre. That thing connected big time. It connected big time. Then a belly to belly. I mean, he was having the floor with freaking Rollins. Leave it up to Jey Uso to come out there, clean house. Drew escaping. A little bit later on, Sami Zayn catches up to him, tells him, yo, can't keep looking backwards, man. You got to move forward. You're not the only one that has been this close to capturing gold. It's happened to me, but every time I get my behind handed to me, I dust myself off. I keep moving forward because I know that one day I will become a world heavyweight champion. It's like you got to get your head up out of your, already and just move forward, put in the work. Drew McIntyre appreciates those words so much that he decides to go to Adam Pearce to try to start fresh, build up, get, string some wins together. One win here, one win there, string them all together, climb back to the mountaintop again. Starts next week with Sami Zayn. Oh, I tell you, Sami Zayn putting his foot in his mouth big time. Putting his foot in his mouth big time. And then, of course, we already talked about the main event match there between Dom, Randy Orton, CM Punk coming out. Looks so damn well rested. And I love the fact that when he opened up his promo, he said, well, I guess hell froze over. You know what was the first thing I had thought about? Kind of showing my age, just a tiny little bit. I'm not that old, but I'm definitely young enough to remember because I was a teenager when this went down, or about to turn into a teenager. And that is when the Eagles had reformed. It all started with this music video. I'm trying to think of the country singer that had brought Glenn Fry and Don Henley together. And then from that had spun the Eagles reforming, and they did something on, what was it, MTV Unplugged, I think, and then they did the Hell Freezes Over tour. And I remember when they did the whole press media thing for it, like one of the very first things that the Eagles had said was, well, guess hell froze over, huh? And so to have CM Punk out there saying, I guess hell froze over. Yeah, something definitely froze over. For sure, something definitely froze over. I love this moment, though. I love this moment. I ate this up big time. He continued on saying, hey, as far as what that means is him standing in a WWE ring on a Monday night with a live microphone in his hand where pretty much any and everything can happen. And that he tried to go with a hockey reference. And I know for the hardcore fans that were there in Nashville, they understood that. But for folks like my wife and many others that don't follow hockey, obviously you've got that awkward, what is he talking about? I don't get that. It's like hockey reference. Oh, I was like, yeah, keep it moving along, right? Punk continuing, he's trying to come up with the right words. He's got 2 words. He knows that they may sound cheesy and corny. It won't sound like him, but he's changed. Once upon a time, an American dream taught him that as long as you speak from the heart, it cannot go wrong. So here's the truth. And the truth of that was he's home. Got a nice pop from the crowd. Talked about how this is where he belongs. This is home. He's been gone for 10 years. And that he appreciates the fact that the fans never forgot about him, even when maybe he wanted to forget about them. Talked about how they are collectively, all together, they're all very powerful. Fans never stop chanting. He loves them. He misses them. Heck, he needed them as kind of felt a little bit out of place. And, at one point, though, he did need to leave, but now he's back. And he is back to get all he needs. All right. So, interesting stuff right there. Talked about how Saturday was an amazing moment. Monday's been amazing as well. In front and behind the camera. Feels like a big old family reunion. People have come up to him, hugging him, kissing him, high-fiving him, asking him how AJ is doing. Also mentioning the fact that AJ is relaxing very well and, misses them as well. That made me pop big time. That made me pop big time when he mentioned AJ, because we've seen some of the pictures, and if you all haven't seen the pictures yet, you really need to go out of your way and check them out. But AJ is in the best physical shape of her entire career. I mean, this girl's got muscles, natural muscles. Nothing looks enhanced, okay? She's got natural muscles and muscles in places I didn't even think was freaking possible. This girl has gotten jacked. And I think it's just a matter of time before she resurfaces in the WWE for that women's division, man. And I think it's just a matter of time. So, some good stuff right there. Talks about how, everyone loves him. Well, not everyone. So, without mentioning his name, giving that little bit of a nod there to Seth Rollins. Continuing on saying everyone competes here to be the best in the world, but the best in the world hasn't been there in 10 years. They're afraid. They're afraid that he set the bar too high, that the brass ring is in his back pocket, afraid that they can't do a thing about him walking through the front door. Some are afraid that they now work with someone who is the best in the ring, on the microphone, and even on commentary. Best in the world is back, and his name is CM Punk. It's pretty much in the show. No beatdown, no surprise attack, nothing of that magnitude going on. I love this moment. I think about most favorite returns. And for me, everything that went down with Survivor Series was great. It was really great. That's a moment that people will be talking about for years to come. For years to come. And yeah, we'll continue to mention AEW and how that was a really great moment. But we'll be very quick to say, but what about that WWE return, dog, right? We'll be so quick to dismiss AEW. And rightfully so. Rightfully so, right? Because for a lot of us, man, yeah, ROH, but man, he really came to the top in WWE. For me, just, thinking about this Raw moment, this definitely was right up there with Raw 2002, Triple H returning from quad injury, the first quad injury. Remember that? Popped up in the whole denim jean jacket, jeans. I mean, he must have put on about 40 pounds of extra muscle bulk, all that good stuff. Loving it. This was one of the best Raws in a long time. It had a Raw after WrestleMania feel to it. It felt very electric. It really, really did. I loved it. I loved it. Now, the big question, though, which is another question we've got to ask here tonight. Truly, what is next for CM Punk? Who is going to be that person to get into his face? Like, what's going to happen here? Because for those of you that might be a little bit curious, for the main rosters, they're not going to have anything as far as a December pay-per-view goes. They're not doing anything. Next month, more specifically December 5th, it's all about NXT. And they're doing the whole deadline. After that, January 27th, I think it is, will be the Royal Rumble. So main roster gets a nice little break for the holidays. They're not doing anything until Royal Rumble. So what? Is CM Punk going to enter the Royal Rumble? Or is CM Punk going to have a one-on-one? Like, I'm very curious what is going to happen on this interesting road to WrestleMania, because everything starts, the road to WrestleMania, everything starts with the Royal Rumble. So, very curious. But this was a really damn good feeling going into tonight's WWE RAW. Very electric. Oh, my God, I can't believe I almost forgot. Raw had got a new theme song. It was a new rap song, not the one that you guys are used to. No, this was a whole new joint, new video package, everything. CM Punk wasn't incorporated in there yet. I would imagine that by next week, or definitely before Royal Rumble, they'll have him incorporated in there. I don't even remember seeing Randy Orton incorporated in the new graphics as well. So give that like a week or two, and they should be incorporated. Seeing a little bit of discussion going on in regards to CM Punk's In Living Color's Cult of Personality theme. I've got to actually listen to it because I know a thing or two about audio mixing, editing, and all that. But just from what I've been able to hear off and on these past couple of days, it sounds like that is a new updated version of Cult of Personality. New bass, new bass layout, new drums layout, new guitar layout. The vocals even sound new, right? I mean, obviously, somebody that sung the song a certain way when they were in their 20s, there's just no way they're going to be able to execute those same notes, if they're almost in their 60s, right? Right? I mean, even Robert Plant had to switch it up once he got to a certain age, right? Pretty much after Robert Plant hit his 50s, he started really switching it up, okay? A lot of good examples of that. But it totally sounded like a whole new... It's definitely a new rendition. Make no mistake about it. It's definitely a new rendition. What I can't quite put my finger on is if the vocals are new vocals as well, or if the vocals are the same. They just uplifted it from the original track, right? Because you can do that. You can, a lot of bands, they have everything isolated, saved somewhere, so they can easily, okay, well, let's just take this and we'll make a remix version out of it. Like, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. But then you have some bands like The Cure, for example. I remember they had put out an album many years ago where they had remixed all their hit songs from back in the day. Friday, I'm in Love, Lullaby, Love Song. They had did new versions of it. Megadeth. You Megadeth fans out there, you definitely can back me up on this one. Megadeth, Dave Mustaine, he went back and he decided, okay, with this new band of mine, we're going to go in and we're going to remix, we're going to remaster, we're going to redo all these songs. And in some cases, the new versions sounded better than the old versions, but then there's some where you just go, oh man, leave it alone, leave it alone. Like, for me, one of my favorite Megadeth albums is Cryptic Writings. I loved the original Cryptic Writings album. I tried listening to the remix, remastered, revised, right? They sung it over again. I couldn't get into it. I didn't have that same feel and everything when I was a teenager when I first picked up that album. Appreciated some of the bonus tracks though. Appreciated that. But yeah, that's the talk of WWE RAW. Let's see what you guys had to say about WWE RAW for tonight. Let's go to X first. X at the RCWR show. See how you guys voted. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. Somebody check on Tony Khan. Let's see here. We've got... Nice. We've got 13% of you that are giving the show a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 31% of you are staying in the middle. Top dog right now, 56% thumbs up. Appreciate you guys that voted via X. See what y'all are saying via YouTube. Click on the Communities tab at the RCWR show. I got to refresh this. Hang on. Now we should be able to go in. Actually, you know what? Let me close that, because I want to make sure I'm getting the most updated numbers here for YouTube. So let's go to the channel, right? I'm almost there, guys. Give me 2 seconds, and I'm there. Okay. YouTube Communities tab. 100% of you are giving it a thumbs up. So keep the votes coming and everything. Appreciate that from you guys. Seriously though, we were just alluding to it earlier. Somebody's got to check on Tony Khan, sincerely, because where I'm at right now with this, do you all think it's remotely possible that Tony Khan may be looking into some form of litigation against the WWE? I bring that question up, and before you scoff at the idea, before you chuckle and yeah, Lee, you're crazy, just stay with me for a minute here. We've heard Tony Khan in the past talk about how WWE had tried reaching out to certain talents, try to see if there was ways that they could break away from their contracts, come on over and work for him. We've heard Tony Khan outright accuse WWE of contract tampering with his AEW talents. Okay? So, keeping all of that in mind, you knew it was just going to be a matter of time. But Tony Khan was asked about CM Punk returning to WWE during an interview to promote All In ticket sales. He was asked this question by BBC Radio West Midlands about Punk returning to WWE. And Tony Khan's response to that was, quote unquote, "Can't talk about that, nor do I think it's the time or the place, but I appreciate you asking. And I'm very excited about AEW All In Wembley Stadium. Not to dodge or duck your question, it's just not something I can legally talk about." Now, I know there's a lot of people that heard that and they're snickering, and look, you're okay in my book, right? You want to snicker about it, you want to call him a you want to call him a okay, more specifically, you want to call him a that's fine. You can call him those things, okay? But take away all the all that, right? Man, is it so wrong to say, hey, appreciate you bringing up that question. I knew sooner or later that question was going to be brought up. Look, when it's all said and done, we appreciate Phil's contributions here to AEW. We wish things could have worked out, but everything happens for a reason. We wish him nothing but the very best in his future endeavors, and nothing but the best this holiday season from here going into the future. Speaking of the future, want to talk to you guys about some upcoming AEW events we have happening. Is it so wrong to, because after all, when everything had went down with CM Punk, he issued some type of a statement. Do you guys not recall? Seriously, he did put a statement out several weeks after he did the whole infamous appearance on Collision, talking about how they had to terminate the contract of CM Punk. Weeks after that, he said, hey, we wish him nothing but the best. We wish things could have worked. He could have easily reiterated that. He could have doubled down. No, the impression that I got here from what Tony Khan had said, he's hurt. He's hurt. He feels scorned. He's all caught up in his feelings. You know he is. And whether he wants to trip over Will Ospreay or the fact that Shibata's got to go back to New Japan for a little bit and he's not going to have access to him for quite a while. Well, however you want to spin it, baby, spin it, baby, spin it, baby, spin it, baby, spin it. You know this man has got to be hurting. And he would have to be a blatant idiot to not even entertain the idea of, did I just get beat in a game of chess by Triple H, Nick Khan, and WWE? Because rewind it back to when everything had went down with that brawl. I'm sorry. I'm right. The infamous all-in brawl. Everybody, the EVPs, everybody. Remember when all that crap had went down? Okay? And CM Punk around that period was spotted at a WWE event. Talked to, what was it, Nia Jax? No, Tamina Snuka. Talked to Tamina Snuka. There was reports that he was trying to talk to Triple H, trying to see if he can get a meeting with Vince, see how he's doing. He was just there to visit. That's what it was. He was just there to visit. And Triple H and them, rightfully so. Oh, man, the optics. Oh, man, bad enough we got Tony Khan. Oh, we got to freaking, hey, man, you got to go, man. Yeah, you got to go because we don't need no heat. We don't need no trouble. But, yo, you got our numbers. Text, call. Text or call. We'll work something out. Text or call. I would like to believe that they got the ball rolling right then and there. I truly would like to believe they got the ball rolling right then and there. Punk being the one to show up, be the bigger person and, test the waters a little bit. I'm sure it was very reciprocal at that point in time. But I would like to also believe they said to him, hey, look, you're currently under a contract right now. We don't need the smoke. We do not need the smoke. This guy's already running around with his head caught off. We don't need any more drama from that guy. But look, now you got our information. Now you got the most updated stuff. Not that you needed it because you probably already had it. But, appreciate you coming out. Stay in contact. Then when he finally did come back and what was it? When he finally did come back, I'm trying to think which was first. Was it the foot injury that happened to Punk first, or was it All In? I'm trying to remember which was, but I definitely, my whole point in just bringing it all up, I would like to believe that once Punk had got a really good idea of, okay, I see how this Tony Khan guy wants to run this business. You hear the old cliche that runs around on social media, oh, it's all friends wrestling. Right? It's all friends wrestling over there because everybody's buddy chums and all that. Right? I'm sure at that point, Punk is like, I'm trying to help this man make millions of dollars. I'm trying to help this man take his business to that next level. He's got untapped financial resources. He just needs the right people surrounding him to help take his business to that next level. And it's like, dude, you listen to me, you take my input, and we're definitely going to get there. And meanwhile, we've got other people with their own agenda that feel threatened by his presence, by CM Punk's presence and everything, don't gel well. And so we saw how everything ultimately had culminated, not to go down revisionist road, but I bring all of that up to bring up this point. I appreciate everybody that had took the time out to either interact on this post that I put up over the weekend or just liked, shared. But I was speaking nothing but the absolute truth in regards to this. And I want to read it to you guys that don't have X. But this is, hang on here. I just got it loading up, that's all. This is what I had said here about the whole situation. Hang on here. God, you guys are showing me a lot of love for that breaking news on Tammy Sytch. I did a breaking news YouTube short earlier today, and I also had shared it on YouTube. Hang on here. Besides sharing it on YouTube, I had also shared it on X, and it's just a lot of retweets here. It's so hard for me to get to here we go. Now I found it. This is what I had said, and like within the past 24 hours, it's picked up almost 13,000 views, over 100 likes, 19 comments, 15 retweets or reposts. Cody Rhodes wanted to do nothing more than create a new era in professional wrestling and new ways of storytelling. CM Punk wanted to do nothing more than make a difference from off his sofa. Shout out if you get that little reference, something that he mentioned from his DVD years back. Both men tried to pay it forward in AEW and went back to WWE. Tony Khan lost so many other talented people that tried to go vocal about their AEW experience but was bombarded by hostile fans. There's only but so much blame a person can delegate before needing to look in the mirror. Be part of the solution and not the problem. Bunch of children in the company couldn't put egos to the side and do business, make good money. Hasn't even been 24 hours, but by the time we get there, CM Punk's WWE return will have surpassed all his AEW TV appearances combined. I'm talking about viewership, which we have an update for that, and I'll get to in just a hot little bit. And some said he couldn't move the needle anymore. Sidebar, that's also me taking shots at the Dave Meltzers and everybody else that had their own agenda in the smear campaigning of CM Punk. I went on to say, time to get that house in order, Tony Khan. And I showed a gif of Tony Khan just looking around very confused. I spoke that from the heart. Tell me where I'm telling a lie. To quote Roddy Piper and CM Punk, tell me when I'm telling a lie. I'll add my own little spin to that. Tell me where is the lie in that. Okay? If you're Tony Khan, right, you're just thinking about all the people that you have lost. Okay? Whether they went to WWE or they just decided, dude, I don't want nothing else. I don't want nothing more to do with you, man. I'm gone. You lost Jade Cargill. You lost Brian Pillman Jr. You lost CM Punk. You lost Cody Rhodes. You lost William Regal. Okay? Jonathan Gresham. One of the best technical guys that's out there, right? You lost him. Big Swole. Big Swole was a decent wrestler for what it was worth. You just lost QT freaking Marshall. QT freaking Marshall, people. Okay? And I've got the comment that he put out there. Even he alluded to the fact that times are a-changing in AEW. And he doesn't like the direction that the company is going in. I have his post, which I luckily had saved. Here's what QT Marshall had to say. And he posted this earlier tonight, a little bit before Raw had came on, but it would have been easy for people to miss it beforehand. Thank you, AEW. Thank you, Tony Khan. I've had the privilege of being here since day one, and I've written over 750 formats for All Elite Wrestling, and always with pride. As much as I've enjoyed being a VP, manager of talent relations, and wearing a myriad of hats, the company has changed a lot since 2019 and is heading in a different direction, and I feel that it's best I do the same, as we only get one chance to go all in. I have officially resigned from AEW and will have fulfilled all obligations by the end of 2023. Thank you to everyone from the front office to the production truck to some of the hardest working talent in this sport. Most importantly, thank you to those who booed, cheered, and took part in this season of my life. So, you know, and QT Marshall, he's always struck me as one of those type of guys. He's not going to spill the tea on social media. He's not going to spill the tea. He's pretty much going to keep that in-house. You know, family, very close friends are going to know what the real deal is. But this guy wore so many hats. But the fact that the winds are a-changing and he feels that he's got to do what's best for him and go in a different direction. sooner or later, I mean, look, if you're Tony Khan, you've got to honestly take a hard look at yourself in the mirror and you've got to go, what are we doing wrong here? Why are we continuing to lose different talents left and right for whatever respected reasons? We're losing them. So what is going on here? How can we make sure that we are fully committed to these people, that they know we truly value them and that we want them to be with us for many, many years? You know, that's why I kind of like the way Billy Corgan was doing the NWA, or has been doing the NWA. He's been bringing in, you know, mostly a bunch of unknowns, building them up from scratch, essentially. And when he has been working with veterans, it's only in the short little sprints, and he's using them on a very limited basis and everything, right? And at one point, it seemed that was the formula that AEW was trying to do. Somehow, the original creed for AEW got lost in translation. Because I remember when AEW had first started, the mission goal from Tony Khan, Cody Rhodes, everybody, it was, hey man, there are some really great young, talented people that's out there on the free agency market that we want to showcase to you guys, and at the same time we want to do our part in making them be household names. We want to make them be AEW originals. These are going to be homegrown talents. And somehow in the course of all of that, it's almost gotten to a point where they've relied more heavily on older veteran names from other promotions, such as WWE. Now you've got, you know, a new report that's floating around where, and I have to see the list of names, but there's apparently a whole bunch of AEW talents contracts who's all going to be coming up for renewal in the first two quarters actually of 2024. You can't help but wonder if Hook is one of those people, because you know, it sure has been a couple of name drops of the human suplex Taz in recent weeks that kind of has you wondering if Taz departure from AEW, if that might be inevitable, and if at the same time Hook is going to be tagging along with him. I mean, can you picture Hook in the WWE system? I mean, he's already good as it is, but just imagine if you give him that WWE system. Really take that game up to that next level. Holy, you know what? Holy balls, okay? Holy balls, right? So, but yeah, I mean, if you're Tony Khan, it does not look good that one of the biggest stars. There's a few different optics to this. Don't get me wrong. If you're Tony Khan, if you're a fan of Tony Khan, you're looking at this, you're going, man, business is business. You know what? Look, Michael Jordan, he pissed a lot of people off, but at the end of the day, it was all about championships and rings. And those people that he pissed off, his teammates, you know, hey, in the long haul, they became better players as a result. It was all worth it at the very end, right? I mean, you could say whatever. Hey, it comes with the territory. It's like, yo, you got CM Punk. You got access to CM Punk. Make it work. Freaking make it work. Right? You trying to play Monopoly, or you trying to make some real money for life? Like, what's the deal here? You really, you know, you want to just have a wrestling company, or are you looking to take your wrestling company to that next level? And you're trying to be a legit contender. You're trying to be a legit competitor. What's it going to be? And obviously, Tony Khan has respectfully, you know, made his decision, right? I can see some people looking at this and calling Tony Khan a chump. I can see other people looking at this and saying, well, what else was he supposed to do? Either way, the optics does not look good. Just the totality. Just the totality. I can also understand the optics from those that are looking at this and saying, wow, so CM Punk does XYZ. Well, hey, hang on, pump the brakes. All of this is allegedly. We still haven't seen the video proof that's out there about CM Punk, right? You know, whether he actually did lunge at Tony Khan or threw a fist at Tony Khan. And, right, you know how it is when you tell one person, hey, this is what happened. By the time he gets to the 50th person, all of a sudden that person now has a handgun. Okay. What started off as charging at me, you get to the 50th person, a gun is involved. Okay, so we sadly won't really know what truly had happened. We won't know. The comment that Tony Khan had made, was that a cheap Punk route that he took? Well, I can't comment on that from a legality standpoint. Yeah, it was definitely, hey, maybe there is a NDA in place. But remember, folks, that NDA, it works both ways. So just as Tony Khan can't, CM Punk most likely cannot say anything as well, right? It works both ways. But the fact that WWE was willing to, whatever issues was in the past, I mean, that speaks volumes. That says a lot to WWE. That says a lot specifically about the type of man that Triple H, Paul Levesque, is trying to be in this new era of WWE. Which is, look, if the fans are talking about it, if it's got them talking, and if that's something they really want us to try to entertain, then you know what? We're going to explore that option. We're going to see what's up. If there is a demand for it, then you know what? Let's see what we can do, right? I would love to believe that Triple H, CM Punk, I would like to believe that they've had more than one discussion, but for the record, they can't publicly put that out there. We don't, right? Lawsuit, right? But I would like to believe that they've had more than one conversation, hash out the differences, make everything water under the bridge, and hey, it's a new era now, it's a new company, it's new ownership, hey, look, this is what we got going on these days. Everybody is possible of changing, right? And look, was it messed up how CM Punk had made his exit from the WWE? Yeah, it was. I remember being here on this show when it initially all had went down, and I was reporting, I was talking about it. It was bad. But I think any one of us, I'm not justifying it, I'm just saying, any one of us that would have been in that position with an employer probably would have done the same thing. And to an extent, we have done that same thing, whether it's, oh man, we're being forced to work an extra shift that we didn't sign up for, and we have these other obligations, whether we got to go pick up our kid from daycare, or we're going to be late going to our next job, or we're going to be late going to school, or fill in the blank. Ah, man, they just keep, I'm getting very little back. I'm out of here. I can't tell you how many friends I've had over the years who I've, had the opportunity to work side by side with, got so burned out over how work was treating them that they left in disgust. They just left in the middle of a shift. They just said, F it. Don't care. F it. Right? Not justifying, but like real people that's been involved in working and all that, they know what the real deal is. And, it's easy for somebody to say, well, I would never. You don't know until you're actually put in that position. That's the whole thing. You don't know until you're actually put in that position. So there's a lot of, my whole point, there is a lot of ways you can look at what all has transpired here. More specifically with Tony Khan and how he's conducting business. But just remember that tweet that I had put out, that I just read to you not that long ago. If you're Tony Khan, you've got to, now more than ever, you've got to talk to that roster. You've got to focus on those younger names that you have on the roster right now, the Sammy G's, your Jungle Boys. your Hooks, your Wardlows, your Darby Allens, your MJFs. You've got to go, your Hangman Pages. You got to make sure that you are showing them love and letting them know how much you appreciate them, and do whatever you need to do by any means necessary to double down and secure them for the years to come. And be very leery about signing veteran names to your company going forward. I think at this point there needs to be, now that they've brought in Edge and Ric Flair, honestly, freeze. Just freeze. Freeze right there for a couple of years. For veteran names, just put a freeze. Focus on the current talent that you have that's there. Plug and play, mix and match, and you know what? Whatever ultimately does not work out, hey, if you want to let their contract expire, you decide that you don't want to renew it, okay, you have that option. Because we've yet to see Tony Khan go, yeah, we've terminated this person's contract. We fired this person, or we've let them go. We've yet to see that. We've yet to see that from him. But you see what I'm talking about? How in the past 18 months, it's so interesting that, and then one other point I want to make before we segue. Stop giving money to the Dave Meltzers, the Sean Ross Sapps. I don't really know if Sean Ross Sapps has been involved in this, but definitely the Dave Meltzers, the Brian Alvarez's. Stop giving them money, because all these people have been on a smear campaign on this man, CM Punk. It's the God's honest truth. Oh, he's not going to draw, oh, he's toxic, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. I mean, we've seen so much crap get spewed out there. And the narrative, it got to a point where the narrative was, well, even if he does go back to the WWE, he's already had his 15 minutes of fame. He was in AEW, and look how he messed that up. Oh, he's yesterday's stale bread. He ain't going to do nothing. Those of you that were with me for the Survivor Series post show, I made a bold prediction, and I said, I have a feeling that CM Punk's appearance at Survivor Series, the viewership alone is going to draw more. The viewership alone is going to be more than all of his AEW TV appearances combined. Let's wait and see. And I think it might have been Russell Ops, last I had checked, 87 million views across social media. Across all social media for CM Punk. Now, I think since then, it's gotten a little bit past 200 million. I could be wrong on that one, but last I heard, for sure, because I remember taking a screenshot, I saw 87 million. I know WWE, because obviously they had to go into production and everything. Their joint had stopped at 71 million from what they had showed tonight, but 87 million was the last thing I saw. But I'm also seeing some stuff put out there about 200 million. So it did. It did. In 24 hours, just that one appearance that CM Punk did at the end of Survivor Series, the social media engagement, everything. I mean, and all you can do at this point is think about those same people that were saying what they were saying. Didn't even have any conviction as far as, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Put your reputation on the line. Is the man going to show up or not? What say you? And they were beating around the bush. I appreciate guys like Forbes. Forbes, they watched till the end of the pay-per-view. Oh, well, CM Punk, contrary to the reports, he did not show up. And obviously they tuned out at the wrong second. Hey, they still got the post up. They're owning it. I know during my my short, I've been trying to do more shorts on YouTube. I know I had said, I don't have CM Punk returning tonight. I got him returning, but I don't. You've been listening to the show long enough. I've said I've got him returning. That's for sure. I just don't know if it's going to happen this calendar year. for sure next year. I just, because my whole thing was Raw after Mania. Everything's already built in right now. Your road to WrestleMania is complete. Bring him in after the fact. But they decide, no, let's go ahead, let's bring him in now. Right? So, but have some conviction. Like, none of these people that I saw were jumping out there. Now, if anything, there's been this smear campaign from like day freaking one. Even the Ryan Sattins. Did you see the bullcrap that was going on with Ryan Satin? Ryan Satin wants to dig up this whole for a guy that supposedly is done with the world of professional wrestling. He's moved on, apparently. This guy wants to dig up some story from 10 years ago about the fact that CM Punk, I guess Ryan Satin, the way the story goes, Ryan Satin had got wind of some story about something involving CM Punk's parents. And he tried to give CM Punk a heads up about it, and CM Punk is like, look, I don't need the media knowing about this. This is very, very personal. This is very, very intimate. Is there anything that you can do to squash this so it never sees the light of day? And Ryan Satin told him, hey, look, I'll try to see what I can do and everything. I can't really make any promises, but I'll try to see what I can do. And he wasn't able to do so, and CM Punk pretty much put him on his crap list. And it's okay, well, you know what? Things happen for a reason. If that's how Punk wants to feel, okay, well, that's him. You go do you. But Ryan Satin takes this moment during Survivor Series weekend to reiterate the fact that he doesn't care for CM Punk. And then when people are going, damn, dude, what's your problem? He wants to dig up something from 10 years ago. You're supposedly a guy that has nothing to do with wrestling anymore, as far as reporting it and all that. And yet you want to dig up. My God. I can't tell you how many friends that I used to talk to over the years that I no longer talk to anymore. And once in a while, I may think about some good times that I had with them, and I may think about some of those times where I butted heads with them, but if they end up doing something kind of cool in their life, even if they did me wrong, you think I'm going to be taking the social media or doing a live show where I'm going to throw them under the bus for something that happened 15, 20, 30 freaking years ago? No! Because that would come off super freaking petty. Like, seriously. And obviously, Ryan Satin couldn't take the freaking heat because he ended up putting his account in private mode. He put it in protection mode so nobody could read what he was saying. Whatever. Seriously, whatever. It's like all these guys. Like, I implore you all, stop giving these guys money for BS exclusive, so-called exclusive news and all that other stuff. If you want to feel like you're an insider, you truly want to know about the inner workings of the wrestling industry and all that, go to the wrestlers that are doing podcasts. Go to the wrestlers that have been there, they've done that, and then some. Support them. Give them your money. You can also give your money to great shows like WrestleNomics, even WrestleTix. These guys do phenomenal in collecting data that nobody else is able to do at the level that they're able to do it, and the way in which they're able to break it down for you to easily understand. Support these people. Don't support these fucking hacks like Meltzer and them that don't know nothing, that are just freaking guessing. They're assuming. And then they have their own respected agenda because, they're getting those paychecks from a AEW or whatever. So they've got their own biased journalism that's going about, which they want you to drink and spread that big propaganda. Stop getting into that crap. Seriously, stop getting into that crap. Some other stuff that we can talk about. I was talking about all the people that had left AEW. Jade Cargill. we didn't get a chance to talk about this, but Jade Cargill, Triple H had commented during the Survivor Series media scrum on why she hasn't made her WWE debut yet. In regards to that, he said, and I quote, I have no less belief in her now than I did when she signed with WWE. It's interesting, when she came in, we talked about her development and where she would land. But where the development was, I want to make sure that no matter what is thrown at Jade Cargill, she's ready and at no fault of her own. I think that she was limited in that. And look, y'all can read in between the lines. I saw people that were, kind of making fun of this on social media and everything, and I'm going, well, damn, anybody with a pair of eyeballs could have told you exactly where Jade Cargill was at, that was watching her on a weekly basis on AEW. As a matter of fact, myself and definitely my boys over there at Soup, Solar Monster, shout out to Kev Castle as well. We all collectively were saying, look, if anybody can truly benefit from the WWE system, it's Jade Cargill. Yeah, she's coming along. She is improving in her footwork and her wrestling ability, but it can be even better than the training that she's currently getting. Like WWE, truly the elite when it comes to really breaking you in, right? That performance center is on another level as far as the training goes. Yeah, they'll definitely clean up any bad little habits that she has. And honestly, when it's all said and done, she got. This is a perfect example of you're great. Think about Goldberg for a second. Just think about that for a second. Think about Bill Goldberg. Remember how it was with Bill Goldberg in WCW? Then the infamous night that he had wrestled William Regal. Think about that, right? And then when Bill Goldberg ultimately had came to the WWE. Remember that. Now just imagine if there would have been a developmental system like the Performance Center. Just imagine if that would have been in place back then and Bill Goldberg had reported to that first before coming up on the main roster. Oh, man. People were laughing at this, though, about Jade Cargill, and it's like, there's nothing funny. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Did you think, honestly, that Jade Cargill was going to hot shot right to NXT programming? Even way back when, I had said, no, if ultimately you want to have her appear, sure, but, like, make sure that all of her in-ring stuff is on point before anything else, right? So, shout out to the guys over at PW Insider. They're reporting that CM Punk was considering a major money offer by them. They noted that they had spoke with respected sources in Impact after CM Punk's WWE return, and were told that there was apparently that Punk was amazing during his discussions, which included dealing with top executives in Impact such as Scott D'Amore and Lou D'Angeli. Sources in the company believe that at one point they were very close to getting him, and at one point had hoped he would appear at Bound for Glory as part of the announcement that Impact was returning to TNA. Obviously, that did not go down, right? So there's people in the company that had hoped they could bring in Punk full time, but realized the reality of the matter that Punk could make big money, like even more money in the WWE. And ultimately, they were pretty much happy that he was able to go and get his. And look, I've been paying attention to what's been happening in the ratings for TNA, and when you've got, and no shade, no disrespect to the women of wrestling promotion, they've been kicking ass, they're doing phenomenal over there, but when Women of Wrestling is bringing more viewers than you, and some weeks they're doing better than an episode of Rampage and Collision, okay, CM Punk, you're bringing him in for TNA, that's great, but is that really, really, truly going to bring in the masses of fans? Is that really going to? I mean, this is like you ain't got no business bringing CM Punk in unless you've got a new TV deal. There's like a whole bunch of other stuff that needs to be at play here before you can even try to approach CM Punk. So this would have been very, very costly for them. And I did say a couple of months back that as far as legit options, I did say, well, look, I'm surprised that Billy Corgan and CM Punk have not. I find that interesting. But I also said, hey, if it's not WWE, I could definitely see TNA. I could see something with them going down. And yeah, that definitely would have been great for TNA off the break. Off the break, just the press media alone, that would have been great for them. Hot shot in the ratings for a couple of weeks, sure. But I think after a while, I think the new norm probably would have been for them, if they're lucky, maybe about 300,000 viewers every single week for their TV shows. It's not really something to be bragging about. So considering how everything went in the end, I think everything happens for a reason. We'll close out with this, which is Tammy Sytch. Let's go ahead and let's talk about that. I have watched the sentencing of Tammy Sytch earlier today. I was watching the stream on YouTube while also hanging out with some folks in the Discord, talking about it and everything. And this was just one of those. I'm glad it's over. I'm sincerely glad that is over, because I got tired of the drama. Seriously, I got tired of the drama like you have no idea. So for those of you that maybe had missed it or you're not aware, out in Florida, Judge Karen Foxman sentenced Tammy Sytch, a.k.a. Sonny, to a total of 17 years in prison with 8 years probation afterwards. She's going to have to serve at least 85% of her sentence for early release consideration. Now, they don't really call that parole, but, break it down in layman's terms, it's pretty much what it means. So it's possible that all she has to do, if it's a 17-year sentence, then it's possible all she has to do is 10, 11, 12 years to make like 85%, and she'll be able to get out. So she could potentially be out. She's, I believe, 50 or 51 right now. So she could be getting out at the age of 63, 64, or 65. She's been banned from driving for life as a result of that. Any vehicles in which she owns as well, she has to surrender them. So when you really break that down as far as the sentencing, how we got to the total of 17 years, this is what it comes down to. And shout out to my boy, Jeremy Thomas, over there at the 401 Mania site. This is how you break it down. Sytch was sentenced to 10.6625 years, basically 10 and a half years when you really break it down, right? Don't let those decimal points and all that confuse you. Basically 10 and a half years for count one of causing death, or one count of causing death while operating a vehicle with a suspended or revoked driver's license. And then she got the 7 years on top of that for the DUI causing death, which will be served after the sentence on the previous charge. Does that make sense? And it's all going to be concurrently, right? So it's all going to happen just boom, boom, boom at the same time. She was then sentenced to 364 days for 4 counts of DUI causing injury to a person and 3 counts of DUI causing damage to property with credit for time already served. Because let's not forget, she's been in jail for the past year and a half, right? Had a lot of delays and everything, as you all know. She also received credit on the first charge for 566 days served. Following up on that, the charges in relation to her car crash back in April of 2022, as you all know, that resulted in the death of that 75-year-old man. Sytch had accepted a plea deal back in August, and as we all know, at that point, she could have been serving up to 26 years in prison. But when it was all said and done, she's pretty much going to be doing 17 years. And again, once she has served about 85% of her sentence, she could be up for early release. The judge had ruled in Monday's hearing that once Sytch is done with her sentence, she will have 8 years of probation and must have a substance abuse evaluation. She'll also have to do 50 hours of community service, pay a $10,000 fine, and again, her driver's license, no matter what state she goes to, permanently revoked. Permanently revoked. I had listened at one point to this doctor that had took the stand for the defense. And the doctor is talking about how he had all of these conversations with Tammy Sytch, talking about how, this problem had happened with her and this problem had happened with her. And at one point, the doctor talks about how he gave Sytch this piece of paper, to basically check off certain boxes. And I loved hearing the prosecution go in on this, because it was almost like that scene from Menace to Society with Bill Dukes pointing and going, you don't messed up, right? You don't messed up, right? You messed up, right? I just love seeing the prosecution go in at that point, and he's just trying to do his best to backpedal and all of that, wiggling his way out and everything. And, even the judge had commented on this when she was getting ready to give her ruling. Because at one point, the judge had said, look, what the defense was trying to illustrate is Tammy Sytch, she's had all of these mental health problems, misdiagnosis with bipolar, and and blah this, blah, 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 blah that, right? Yakety smackety. I'm just trying to give you guys the bullet points without sounding too long-winded and making it boring and all that, right? But here's the problem. Here's the problem. The burden of proof. Now, what do I mean by that when I say the burden of proof? Well, if this woman is saying misdiagnosis with bipolar and this had happened and she went and saw this doctor for this and she was given this medication and she did that and she did this and she did that, it's like, okay, so burden of proof. Prove it to the court. They had no documentation whatsoever, no previous documentation of prescriptions, no appointment logs. They couldn't even bring other there was nothing. Couldn't even bring up other doctors to speak on this woman's behalf. There was nothing. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if the money is banging like that, if I got a decent of enough money and the right type of a defense team, they should be able to go, hey, we went and we spoke to this doctor, we spoke to this doctor, we subpoenaed them, and they all can speak on, right? Couldn't happen. It didn't happen. So the judge was very concerned about that from the defense team, and it was like at the end of the day, it was y'all were not able to establish that this did in fact, it's nothing more than hearsay. The judge did admit that there is some type of a mental issue with Tammy Sytch, which is based off what you just heard a few minutes ago, which is why one of the conditions, she put in there, what she put in there and all that. Okay. So you're hearing that though, and you're just like, wow, all right. So everything almost sounds made up. Then the impact statements from the family. The brother that had talked about Fran, that's what because he has a long name, the 75-year-old man that died. What was so sad to hear in regards to that, this man on his own spare time would take care of people just like Tammy Sytch. He would take care of recovering addicts. He would try to nurse them back to good health, counsel them, and all of that, right? So here was a man that was doing that, was apparently a very fit, athletic person, was always doing some type of cardio, bicycling, loved the outdoors. Loved the outdoors. Apparently was a big James Brown fan, as his daughter had mentioned. They were growing up, and he would always play James Brown's I Feel Good and tell her, hey, come on, get up. Today's going to be a beautiful day. I know it. I can feel it, right? So very upbeat, very uplifting and all that. Something else, apparently this guy was a wrestling fan, because every single time WWE used to come to the area out there in Florida, he would always get tickets and take the family. So you're going, wow, how this all comes so full circle, right? Just hearing those impact statements from the brother and the daughter of that family, it was just gut-wrenching. It really, really was. And you couldn't help but tear up for them. Then at one point, we get a recess for about 10 minutes, and the rumblings were that Tammy Sytch was entertaining the idea that maybe, just maybe, she was going to put some type of a statement out there. So you're hearing this and you're going, okay, so she's going to put a statement out there. Is it possible that she's going to be in a position where she's cross-examined? And that was a topic that a lot of us were discussing amongst ourselves in the Discord. And it was a case where, no, she can't be cross-examined, because all she's doing is reading a statement to the judge. She's not taking the stand. If she was taking the stand to speak on her behalf, then yeah, obviously the prosecution would be able to cross-examine. But if all she's doing is reading a statement pretty much from from her side of the table with her defense team, then yeah, she's most likely, there's no way you can cross-examine, right? Not unless you call her to the stand. So we have the 10-minute break, a little recess. We come back. Sure enough, Tammy Sytch, by the way, Tammy Sytch, do not think that the photos are being altered with what you've been seeing on social media. I know it can be notorious sometimes. But in regards to Tammy Sytch, the current photos that you see of her, more specifically the photos that's floating around of her in the courtroom today, those are accurate. She has probably put on, and I wasn't saying it in an insulting manner, but I legit asked the question. I said, she's put on what, at least 30 pounds? And few people reached out to me and they said at least 30 pounds, if not 40, barely recognizable. Obviously, whatever hair dye she was using, obviously, because she's not really able to access that in jail. Obviously, that is right. I mean, her hair is practically gray. Believe it or not, her hair is practically gray. I barely saw blonde in her hair, and it was out. It wasn't in the trademark ponytail or all wrapped up. We all contributed the amount of her weight gain. Not that we were trying to make her come off as a sympathetic character, but we all were just making observations. Obviously, she's been doing some form of stress eating when it's all said and done. She's been doing some form of stress eating to pick up the amount of weight that she's been picking up. And, look, when you have some type of access to funds, right, I would imagine that her friends, family, they've been hooking her up with something, some type of money since she's been incarcerated. When you got some type of money that's coming in, you don't really have to eat the basic food that's there, right? The 2 or 3 meals a day that they're given, you don't have to do that, right? Either you do little things in prison and basically get some type of allowance money from that, and you can pretty much use that for canteen food, or you have a friend or family member that's always sending you some type of money, and you're pretty much using that for canteen food. So you can get those hungry man meals, you can get those little Debbie's, you can get those Entenmann's, okay. You can get that pizza, okay. Apple pie, right? Ding dongs, ho hos, Suzy Q's. You can get all that good stuff if you got that canteen money coming in on a regular basis. So I would imagine that's what's been going on with her, stress eating and all that. But she did, but the girl don't look good. The girl don't look good. And I know some of you guys like your women thick. You like your women a little chunky. I like my women thick. I like my women a little chunky. But you're looking at her now, you're going, oof, slow down. So she puts a statement out there. And as I was telling Mish, I said, okay, I like how this is coming off. But I did say before she read her statement, I did say the judge has to consider that Tammy Sytch is technically an actress for everything that she was doing in front of the camera in the wrestling world. She was doing some form of theater. So, we got to keep that in mind, right? She could just be playing up, right? So, Sunny reads her little statement. And I got to be honest with you guys. And you'll probably be with me if you go back and you watch the first couple of minutes of this. She is sounding very sympathetic. She is sounding like a person that is taking self-accountability. And I remember at one point I said, I'm liking this. I'm liking the maturity that's coming. Okay, I'm getting a really good vibe here. And Mish goes, yeah, I don't know, dog. This kind of comes off fake. I'm like, no, I'm usually a pretty good judge of character here. So far, she's off to a pretty good start. Like, let's see what happens. Why, after I say that, probably about 3 minutes later, her written statement just went downhill because this woman had the nerve to evoke the name of her late boyfriend and Chris Candido. And she pretty much, blatantly mentioned that after this man had died, she pretty much has been on a downward spiral. So it's like, wait a minute, this man's been dead almost 20 years. And you're really going to go this route? This man can't defend himself. Nor is there a family member representing the Candido family, that can speak on her behalf and everything. We're really going down this route. So once she went down that path, I just started getting knots in my stomach. I started feeling disgusted. Then she also brings up the fact that she's done so many make-a-wishes for little children. And I'm going, that has nothing to do with what's happening right here, right now, this moment in time. Like, what the hell? It gets worse, people. It gets worse. She then talks about how she now understands the error in her ways, and that if she's given an opportunity, she would love to go out in the community and educate people on the risk that comes with drinking and driving. And I'm like, wait, what? What? Lost in translation is when she says if she could trade places with the man she killed, she would, and how, since she's been incarcerated, she lost her mom. So she has some type of an idea. Not to mention she lost her father, right? Um, many years ago, but home in on the fact that while she was incarcerated, she lost her mom, right? But she's saying how she wishes that she could be, you know, she could switch places if she could, she would, right? But that gets lost in translation because you hear this woman never does she say, Your Honor, I accept whatever punishment you give me. I accept that. I deserve it. I just hope that, at a later time, through the whole process, I just hope that with you all's help, I can come back into society, not just as a changed person, but permanently be on the right path in which I can educate people, I can help people. Obviously, I need some type of help, right? I was hoping for, because I'm listening to this statement and I'm just going, did she get these judges? I know it ended up being public because she said, she ended up saying, look, I need new representation because, I can no longer afford, right? So she had got a new defense team and all that, courtesy of the court or whatever, right? They appointed it for her and everything. But I'm just going, where did you get these particular defense members from? Did you get them from a box of Cracker Jacks? Because, like, a good lawyer is going to say, I really don't think you should say this. Let's take a Sharpie here. Yeah, we're going to X that out. We don't need that. We don't need that. Here, let's put this in here instead. It was just really, really cringe on a whole nother level. And I was starting to get pissed off hearing it. I was getting really pissed off hearing it. Just the fact that she evoked the name of Chris Candido. Then she started talking about how she went through abuse. And at this point, you're going, okay, did you go through this abuse by Chris Candido? Or did you go through this abuse with your last boyfriend? Because we remember over the course of like 5 years, her and the boyfriend that she had last, they were kind of getting into it here and there. So it's like, it really wasn't specific, but this just sounded like somebody, what started off as, okay, accountability, self-accountability, great, just became excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. And it's just, okay, please shut up already. I remember there was also a part where she talked about how when she was growing up, she wanted to be involved in the healthcare field because all she wanted to do was take care of people. She wanted to help people. And it's something in the way that she tried to throw it back on the man that she killed and the family. Now that I kind of think back on it in retrospect, that was a little bit cringe as well. I mean, when you really chalk this all up, she had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to get her life straightened out. Even that last rodeo where she was in jail for a hot minute, and in the process she lost the weight and she was looking good. She was doing shoot interviews. She eventually went into the WWE Hall of Fame. Then she started doing OnlyFans or whatever. I mean, okay, you are talking a good game about wanting to do something with your education, wanting to move on to the next part of your life and all that. She had the opportunity right then and there to do so, but obviously she didn't. She's also gone through periods where she wasn't doing anything. She wasn't in the news. So everything that she has done, to my whole point, everything has been a freaking choice. And when you're this reckless with your choices, this is what you get. This is what you get. So obviously they have 30 days to appeal. She ain't going nowhere, right? Obviously they're going to try to appeal, see if they can get a new trial. They're entitled to that. Whether or not she tries to push for that we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So this takes care of that. I'm curious what happened in the civil suit. If there's, because I remember hearing something about a civil suit. Matter of fact, let me see something real quick here. Let me just say Tammy Sytch civil suit, and let me see if anything had popped up. I don't think the family has tried for a civil suit yet. Okay, so back in October, thanks to the guys at PWI Insider, because I know that's going to be the next question for you guys. What about the family and a civil suit, right? What's going on with that? Hang on. This is from October. Updates on the civil lawsuits filed against Tammy Sytch in the state of Florida, both related to her DUI arrest. The first, filed by the estate of Julian L. Leicester, the man who was killed in the 3-car traffic incident involving a car driven by Sytch. Right. Fiance, Okay, Ultimate Motor Cars LLC, which sold Sytch the car she was operating at the time of the incident. The victim's family estate filed a motion for the lawsuit against Ultimate Motors Cars LLC to be dismissed with prejudice on September 12th, which would mean they could not move forward against them legally in civil court again. That likely indicates the two sides came to a settlement of sort, but PW Insider, they can't confirm that. The court has not yet responded to the motion. Let's see. In January 2023, so go back a couple of months prior, the victim's daughter, Whitney Hill, filed the motion requesting that the court permit Ultimate Motor Cars be added as a defendant, which the court has agreed to. At the time, it was noted that Petit did not oppose the addition of the new defendant and that Sytch has not filed a responsive pleading. In that motion, the victim's estate stated through discovery they now believe that Ultimate Motor Cars LLC may bear some liability in the victim's passing. Let's see. What else here? All right, I'm just scrolling through this real quick. In the amended lawsuit, the victim's family contended that the actual ownership of the car falls with Ultimate Motor Cars and are seeking to hold them responsible for Sytch having possession of the car when by letter of the law she would not have been able to drive, yada, 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 yakety smackety. All right, so you pretty much know about that. Let me just skim this a little bit more. So that's that. Okay, now the second civil lawsuit was filed against Sytch on March 21st in regard to the traffic incident that caused the passing of Fran. In that case, Jana Olavova, a passenger in another car that was impacted during the incident, filed a civil suit seeking an excess $50,000. Olivova had filed a suit against Sytch, Petit, and Olivova's own insurance company, Geico. An amended lawsuit was filed this past July, now only listing Geico as the sole defendant, as Sytch and Petit have been dropped as parties in the suit. So it looks like when it's all said and done, the family did not try to go after Tammy Sytch and clean house. Maybe this was a case where maybe through discovery they were able to find out that in fact this woman has no money. And I know that kind of raises a few of you all's eyebrows, because I know some of you guys that's been following this, you all have pretty much said, no, there's some type of money. She obviously moved it all around, there's something. Trust me, I think it would have honestly been discovered by now. Honestly, believe it would have been discovered by now. But you know what? Could totally be wrong. Could totally be wrong. We'll never really know. But yeah, so she may be getting out of jail. I know some people are saying 67, but when you think about the fact that she'll be up for early release just after serving 85% of her term, she could be getting out a little sooner than that. And as many of you guys had said, you guys were like, this is cruel. This is really not fair whatsoever. I'll read some of you guys' comments from X because I know you guys were blowing up X earlier today. Let me go to mentions here. See what you guys are saying here. Actually, go to all. There we go. For the heel 916 emoji face, very shocked. SMH shaking my head. Richard Gutierrez, goodbye and good riddance. Shout out to Anna. Anna saying, bullshit. She should have gotten life. Shout out to DJ. Good riddance. Here's somebody that feels this was fair. Somebody named HK Lesfic Author just said fair. Terry, it took 5 DUIs before my stupid brother decided drinking and driving was a bad idea. She killed a guy and still probably only regrets the time she's about to spend at the pen. Yeah, very, very just... Ugh. Felix Ortiz, good riddance. John Draper, shout out to John. Appreciate you, John. See ya! Just some of you guys' comments from that one. And then let's take to YouTube, because there's actually some comments that had came in via YouTube as well. Let me load that up. Let me see here. While I got that loaded up, see what's going on in the chat here. Chris, Sonny trying to get sympathy was disgusting to watch. It was. It was. I've seen a few cringe-worthy. It takes a lot to turn my stomach because I'm a big fan of the investigation discovery shows. Somebody's always dying on that channel, and I'm always watching Law and Orders and all that. I just started getting into CSI New York with Gary Sinise. I wish I would have been watching that years prior when it was on the air, but now I'm really starting to like that and everything. So I got a fascination for stuff like that, and watching that trial earlier today, it turned my stomach on a whole new other level, man. Seriously, it turned me out big time. Hang on here. I'm trying to load up the comments, but my phone is about to die. Let me just switch to the tablet. So I want to show some love to a couple of comments that had came in on the YouTube short. So let's load that up here. Go to view channel and then go to shorts. I should be able. Yep, I got it. All right, let's see here. Shout out to Go. So I agree with the family of the victim. She should have gotten a harsher sentence. Yeah. Earlier when they were giving impact statements, the family pretty much was like, yo, it's only fair that she gets the maximum sentence because it would be so ironic, so poetic that by the time she gets out, she's pretty much at the age of the father, the brother, when he was killed. Basically, by getting the maximum sentence, they could essentially rest knowing that she wouldn't be causing any harm because she's just this little old lady now, right? So, let me tell you something. As somebody that is still a new driver, I got my driver's license late March of this year. First time ever. No issues, just every time I was trying to learn how to drive growing up, there was never the right people in play in my life that could teach me how to drive. And then when there were people in my life that could teach me how to drive, they wouldn't give me the time or day. It was really, really weird. They would not give me the time or day. So it was like setback after some type of a weird setback that was going on for me. But my wife, my mother-in-law, they were so great. All last year, all we did was get me ready. That's all we did. We just got me ready. Or actually, no, 2 years ago, we got me ready. Then we did the provisional. We got me to do the test. We got me to get the provisional license. Right, went through that whole thing, logged in on the hours, went to the driving school, yada yada yada. Did the real thing, did the real test in March. Got my license, and knock on wood, the only accident that I've had since I've been behind the wheel, and it was no fault of my own. I was backing out of a parking lot at a Wegmans. I honked my horn as I was backing out, and this woman, I swear to you, somewhere off, like, blind spot, I don't know what you call it, but she wouldn't move her car. I didn't notice. I thought it was clear as day. I back out, I hit her. Rest was, got that squashed. But since then, I've been much, much more cautious as a driver. And I got to tell you, as somebody that's still a newbie driver, even though I've had X amount of months under my belt now, it just amazes me to hear about stuff like this involving Tammy Sytch. It amazes me to hear about people that are drinking and driving behind the wheel. And I told you guys about my horrific story about how me and my wife were, coming off of, we were trying to get on the 270 a couple of months back. And we basically came up on a crazy automobile accident. Myself and like 4 other guys, we were pulling all these people out of this very, very heavily damaged SUV. We were pulling little kids out and everything. The last person that we were able to get to was the driver because she was so crammed in there. And unfortunately, she passed. Unfortunately, she had passed. She was a nurse. Made the news and everything. It was really bad. They caught up with the guy, though. He was a drunk driver. I can't comprehend it. I've tried asking my friends. I've even had conversations with my wife. But basically with those that drive, I'm like, how do you explain? Like, I don't, and they tell me like, I can't tell you, Lee. Like, people are just stupid. They don't think. So Tammy says, as far as I'm concerned, she's had plenty of time. She's had plenty of chances, plenty of opportunities to get it right. And she's failed miserably. She's got what's coming to her. It's not enough as far as I'm concerned. I wish it was more. Just for the family. I wish it was a lot more. But you know what? We got to take what we can get. And now I can't help but wonder, will she actually make it to serve that whole term? Because, it was interesting because once the verdict was delivered, some of us were going, is she going to actually make it through that full sentence? Because a lot of people feel that with all of her health problems, like, they feel like she's going to die in prison. Me, on the other hand, I'm going, I don't know. She doesn't seem mentally tough like that in the head. I wouldn't be surprised if she killed herself. I would not be surprised if she killed herself in prison. I don't see her surviving that full sentence. I'm not saying that to gain sympathy. There's certain people you look at and you just go, yeah, if they go to prison, they're going to be all right. And then there's others where you just go, heaven forbid you don't go to prison because you don't look like you're going to make it. And she just comes off to me as one of those individuals that probably is not gonna make it, but we'll see. But good riddance. Not enough time as far as I'm concerned. Not enough time. Let's see. At this point, we are at by the time I get done editing, this will be about 2 hours and 30 minutes almost, or a little bit over 2 hours, 31 minutes. Let's take a fork in it. Let's call it DONE done. All right. So your next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming at you guys Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. We'll be on after AEW Dynamite goes off the air. We'll talk Dynamite. But the main gist of us being live on the air Wednesday, will officially celebrate our 12th anniversary show. It'll be our 12th anniversary edition. Been doing this as of Wednesday officially 12 years that we've been doing the show. So if you guys are going to be around, definitely come one, come all, hang out, say hello. You can say a congrats. All kinds of stuff. If you want to maybe throw a donation out there, I'll have links all on that show letting you know how you can do it and everything. But in the meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. Did we take a look at the Raw polls one last time before we got ready to wrap it up? I don't think we did. I'm just a little bit curious. Going to the Raw poll. Curious what you all... Okay, yeah, we did. I just wanted to take a look at it one more time. Okay, yeah. I see how you guys had voted on the Raw poll. So we're good. It still stands where we had last discussed not that long ago. But yeah, guys, be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. You can get at your man on X and on Facebook at the RCWR show. Stay connected to the YouTube channel. I'm trying to get into the habit of doing more YouTube shorts. So if some interesting little news comes about that I want to share with you guys, I'm going to just be firing up a lot more shorts. I've been encouraged by friends and even fellow content creators like, dude, you don't do enough shorts. Do more shorts. Like, seriously, you'll thank us later. Like, okay, all right. So I'm trying to get into the habit of doing more shorts. So make sure you have your notifications on so you know what's going on and everything. Hit the likes, all that jazz. I shouldn't have to tell you what to do. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I can't stress it enough. When you do hit the likes, it does help supercharge the content, puts it out there to more people to be able to discover easily, right? So do that and thanks. Till next go round, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Take care, y'all. Peace.